Good morning, it's Phil Thatch, and I woke up this morning and there was glorious fog again, which is wonderful. And I've made my way to Harrison Bay State Park. Actually, I'm still outside of the main entrance to Harrison Bay State Park. I'm just kind of parked across the street at the little grocery store here on the road that leads to it because this field is full of wonderful trees. And I'm shooting with the R6 Mark II and the 24 to 105 right now, just kind of looking for a composition. And I've made 3 or 4 shots already, but the one that I really like is a juxtaposition shot. It has this tree here as the first tree, and then about 4 trees drifting to the left of it. I think it's actually kind of a decent composition. I mean, I've got pictures of trees in the center of the frame that I probably will like just because of the fog, but that one is compositionally good in other ways. So anyway, I can't talk long. Got to get back to this fog before it goes away. Let's look at the ones I got so far. Here is my first foggy shot, and you can see it was really, really foggy. I liked this tree because the trunk kind of bends back and forth as it goes from the top to the bottom or the bottom to the top, whichever way you're going. And of course, in this field, I love this grass, this tall, dead grass is really cool in this field. I wouldn't mind if all these other little plants were not there and it just was the trees and the tall, dead grass, but it's still okay. And of course, I decided to leave this bird box in the shot. I could have taken it out, but I decided to leave it in there. This is 85 millimeters and 1/50th of a second. I stopped it down to 6.3, and this is ISO 100, and this is handheld. Here's the next shot, and this is the one that I talked about in the video clip with the juxtaposition. I've got this tree as kind of my main subject tree, and I'm focusing on it. And then there's 1, 2, 3 trees kind of drifting into the background, and I like the way the height of them also drifts backwards. This one turned out fairly good. This is another 1/50th of a second shot, which later in the day, 1/50th caused me some problems. This is 45 millimeters, f6.3, and ISO 100, handheld in the fog. This field is thick with tall grass and brush, so definitely a good day to wear my wellies or my mud boots or whatever these things are, my rubber boots. This is a tree that I photographed the last time there was fog and I was out with the camera, but this has much more fog on it and much less leaves in the tree. This is November the 17th, I think, is the day that I made these shots. And this one's almost too fogged in, but I'm still pretty happy with it. I like the negative space in this. This is 63 millimeters, another shot at 1/50th of a second, and this one is f5.6 ISO 100. This may be my favorite fog photo from the field. This is kind of the right ratio of being able to see the tree, but also having the tree look mystical in the fog. And I love this tree in the background that you can just barely see. Just really a cool looking tree back here. And these trees don't look bad either. This is maybe the favorite fog shot. This is a square crop, 53 millimeters, 1/100th of a second. Thankfully, I had sped my shutter speed up to 1/100th. So once I get that fast, there's not much motion blur in the shots. This is f5.6 and ISO 100. Here's a split tree that is just okay. I like this shot right here much, much better than this one. This is 33 millimeters, 1/125th of a second, f5.6 and ISO 100. These boots are really helping out as far as keeping my feet dry, but this grass that I'm walking through is so tall, my pants are soaked from just below the knee where the boots stop all the way up to my thighs. But man, what a morning. What a morning. This is the same tree that was in the very first picture from this morning, but it's a different composition. This one's 47 millimeters, 1/160th of a second, f5.6 and ISO 100. As I was leaving, I looked across the street and I made this photograph of the park grocery store. This is outside of the state park, but it services the state park. You can get gas there at these kind of old style gas pumps, and you can get some ice, and you can go in there and get some coffee, and it's got just convenience store type groceries. And I think the people that own it actually live in this part of the structure, the people that own and operate it. So this is their dwelling and this is their business over here. And I love the way this shot came out. This is kind of a combination of two influences for me, Thomas Heaton for the fog photography and Nick Carver for the photography of a business. And I think the two styles go together well. Really am happy with this shot. It's 42 millimeters, 1/160th of a second, f5.6, handheld, and ISO 125. Now, I was actually just planning to take a picture of this evacuation route Sequoia, which is a nuclear power plant near us, obviously, because if it has a problem, this is the way you would get away from it. And I was just going to get a picture of the sign and kind of square crop it in nearly rule of thirds, the sign, and have the road drifting around the curve into the fog. And right about the time I was getting my composition, a deer crossed the road. So really happy that that happened. I think the picture would have been okay without the deer, but the deer, I don't know if you can see it, it's kind of fogged in. The deer helped the shot out a little bit, I think. My focus point was definitely the Sequoia sign. That's the name of the nuclear power plant nearby. I'm inside Harrison Bay Park proper now, and I've come to an area which is normally underwater when the water's up for the summer, but now the water's down for the winter. And I saw a tree, if I could change hands here, I saw a tree laid over into the water behind me that I thought was really pretty, and then another one in the background laid over into the water from the other direction. And thankfully I have my boots on so I can make it out here into this super thick mud and get a shot. I'm still shooting handheld with the 24-105 as all my shots so far this morning have been. But anyway, what a day. Here's the shot of the two trees laying down beside the lake there at Harrison Bay State Park. And the funny thing is I got so much mud on my shoes. I actually kind of got stuck in the mud. I was so deep in the mud. But the shot that I made that I liked enough to share with you was made before I got down deep in the mud. I thought that I would need to get further over into the mud to get the best shot, but I ended up liking this version better. This is 92 millimeters, 1/160th of a second, f5.6, and ISO 100. And this photo almost looks like it's black and white. Really, the only place you can see color in the shot is over here, but the color has been edited the same for the entire picture, which it hasn't really been boosted or pulled back at all. It turned out okay, but man, my boots got dirty during this part of the morning. I got a picture of a couple of fellas fog fishing, so that might turn out pretty cool. Here's a couple of guys fishing there on the shore. I was walking over in this direction to try to walk in the water and get the mud off my shoes, and then I saw these two guys and I said, well, I don't want to disturb them while they're fishing. I'll just take their picture. And they had no idea. I got relatively close to them, made my shot and left, and they never even noticed me. This is 105 millimeters, 1/160th, f5.6, and ISO 100. As I was still looking around for a good place to get into the lake to clean my boots off, I decided to set my camera down low on the road there at Harrison Bay State Park and get the yellow lines right in the middle of my shot and have the leading lines of the road going up and curving out of the frame and the beautiful trees with the fog. And I really love the way this turned out. This is 63 millimeters, 1/160th of a second, f5, and ISO 200. I've had a great time in the fog this morning, but as you can see, the fog has definitely lifted. I hope you enjoyed today's photography. If you did, reach down, hit the thumbs up button. That helps me out a lot. If you want to see some more, subscribe and hit the bell. And as always, I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye-bye from Harrison Bay State Park.